everyone, my name is Evie Lupine. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have another video for you all. Today we are going to be doing a review of two bondage gear sets, which I am very excited to share with you all. And I know we just did a video unboxing a kink crate, and I don't want to squish too many reviews together, but I think you guys are really going to appreciate knowing about this one in time for Valentine's, because the items we're going to be reviewing are two exclusive limited edition Valentine's Day themed bondage sets. So I am going to be doing my usual thing, going over the brand, going over the quality of the products, the fit, the feel, the materials, how practical they are, so on and so forth. So if you are looking for a really in-depth bondage review and possibly something to get your partner as a surprise for Valentine's Day, you are in the right place. Just keep watching. So the first thing that I want to go over is just talking about the brand, because Liebe, Seele, the brand we're reviewing today, is a Japanese-based company. So they are not necessarily something that you would have run across in your everyday bondage store. I have known about them for a long time. I first ran across them on Etsy about 4 years ago when I was first starting to look for bondage gear. They have over 2,000 sales and over 400 5-star reviews. So when it comes to a reputation online for quality products, they certainly have it. And I do also want to share the mission statement for the company so you guys can get a little bit of a better sense of what they're about, because I know for me, I sometimes get weary of ordering anything from overseas where I don't exactly, have a lot of in-person familiarity with the company. If I can't meet them at a convention or don't have any friends that own anything from them, I want to make sure that I am ordering from a place that values the BDSM community and values safety and values making quality products. From Japan, Liebe Seele has been trying to offer top quality whilst fashionable bondage gears and accessories for years. Liebe and Seele are two German words which mean the love of the soul when they are combined. The products borrow inspiration from the love of soul. Like no others, Liebe Seele is strict on the quality of products. We believe that an unforgettable night bondage play should be fun and safe, and the quality of products is essential for pleasure and safety. Liebe Seele sourced the best leathers from all over the world, like Italy, France, Argentina, and Brazil. All leathers are also subject to the high standard environmental testing, and for the hardware and chains and D-rings, we also only accept nickel-free human-safe materials. And everything came in this nice little velvet leather pouch. Now on the front it has the logo for the company, and at first I saw this, which is like the stylized E, and I thought it was supposed to be an A, and my mind went like, what's happening here? Like, is this supposed to be an E or an A? Is this a knockoff? Is this some kind of like, did I get duped? No, it turns out that's just the styling for the brand, and I don't know why they have it where it looks like it's misspelled on their packaging, but to each their own, I guess. But I do like that it came in this nice black velvet pouch, because it does keep everything nice and secure and organized in one place, and it is discreet. So again, if you do have nosier people in your life, you just close up the drawstring, you tie it in a knot, you put it in your bedside table, and hopefully nobody goes to look that far into what you've got going on at your nightstand, let's say. But like I said, we do have two sets to review today. One of them is a little bit more, I would say, bondage intensive than the other one is, where the other one I would qualify more as like beginner BDSM friendly, or like what I would consider a complete beginner BDSM set if you are interested in getting started. So let's go ahead and start off with that one. So the first one is the Wild Passion Collection 1, and that one comes with 5 pieces. It comes with a collar, a pair of wrist cuffs, a set of nipple clamps, a blindfold, and a flogger. So the first item that I pulled out of the bag was this blindfold here, which I think is really interesting, and I think it does a good job of sort of demonstrating everything that is in the rest of the bondage set. It has that very interesting red wine type color to it. The inside has this black padding, and then everything in here has this rose gold plating on it, which I find to be very, very interesting. I would not have normally associated rose gold with red wine and thought that would be an interesting or even a pretty combination, but it somehow manages to work together in a very, I guess, on-trend kind of way. So if you're somebody who is into the fashion side of things, you don't want the same black and silver that everybody else has, this is a very unique color combination. Both of the sets do come with the same style blindfold, so I won't be showing this again for the second set. But in general, I found that it was comfortable to wear. It does have nice padding. The outside of all of the leathers is cow leather, and the inside padding is all sheep leather. Everything in here is real leather, so if you are vegan, unfortunately, I'm sorry, these are not going to work for you, but they are very comfortable. However, I really do prefer blindfolds that have a cup around the eyes to them, and the reason for that is when you have a blindfold like this and it's just totally flat and it's going up against your face, it doesn't follow the curve of the face perfectly, so there's always going to be little bits, like particularly around the outer and the inner corner of the eye, where you're going to be potentially getting little bits of light depending on how far back your eyes are set into your skull. And in general, I find that while they do a good job of blocking light, they are certainly not the most effective blindfold. So if you're looking for like total complete coverage darkness stuff, this blindfold is probably not going to be it. It does a pretty good job, and I think it's good for beginners because sometimes having a little bit of light that comes through, or having the option to see, like if you're looking completely straight down, that can be a little bit of a comfort when you're first entering into a sensory deprivation experience. So it could be a positive, but in general, I think this is an adequate blindfold, and the padding on it is very nice and is definitely high quality. So the next item we have here is the collar, and that as well has the rose gold accents. It has the red wine lamb's leather on the outside, and this one is really interesting because rather than having like your standard sort of slip through like buckle, it has these like buttons on it. I know that's not exactly what the term is, but it has snap closures is what it has, and I just think that is so interesting for bondage gear because I would typically associate this with very cheap quality bondage gear, but I find that actually these snaps are really, really strong. So let's say that I'm putting it on like the setting that I would use for myself. They are like super heavy duty. Hopefully you guys can hear that, but like it snaps on. And I can do this to it all day long, and it is comfortable to wear. It is soft on the neck. This is, again, fully lined. It has the color all the way around, so there's no like rough latigo on the inside like some cheaper cuffs you might have. And it's something where you can do bondage play with it that is very heavy. What I like that they did also in here is that you can see on the inside where the post is also completely covered up. So if you are somebody who is sensitive and you don't like when things rub against your skin too much, you're sensitive to metal, this covers that up. Now you do have the back of the snaps on the inside here, which you might feel, but I found from the front everything else, it was very comfortable, and I think this is going to be very durable as well, especially considering the backing on it. I think if you wanted to actually damage this, you would basically be destroying the leather, and I would be more concerned about the health of your vertebra if you got to a point where you were causing damage to this item while you were playing with it. The next set of items are the pair of cuffs, and they have pretty much the exact same styling to them as the collar does, but curiously enough, they did not continue with the snap theme on these. They went with the standard buckle, like a roller buckle like you would have on pretty much every other piece of bondage gear. I would have liked to have seen snaps all the way across this set, and the reason for that is, one, I think it's good to be consistent, and two, if we are going about this as like a beginner bondage item, I find that in a panic situation, if you really need to get out of bondage, or if your partner wants to be able to take themselves out, snaps come off a lot more easily than a roller buckle does. And the other reason for that is I found on this one, the sizing worked a lot better for me. Like I could actually wear this on the tightest setting and it wasn't too loose. Whereas with these, because they're roller buckles, I have to tighten them all the way down, and then I end up with like this much extra strap sticking out at the end. And just to give you guys a sense of how this looks on, I have to have this tightened all the way down, which leaves a lot of extra strap on here. And so what I've done to make this kind of more seamly looking when I've worn it and for photos and things like that, I will like not completely put the leather all the way down, and then I will use a little strap keeper on here to keep the rest of it in place. And I think that does a pretty good job of keeping things in place, and it doesn't look terribly awkward. And you can kind of see, like, from the front you can't really tell there's a bunch of extra leather, but in general, like, the sizing is not great for me. But I do have very tiny wrists. I think my wrist size is like 5.5 or something. So if you're a normal sized person who is not teeny weeny like me, I think this offers a good range of sizes to fit a lot of different body types and shapes. But you know, it is something where unfortunately when things are one size fits all, there is always going to be areas on either side of like the average size that aren't going to be able to fit perfectly into something. And the cuffs also come with this little rose gold chain that you can put between them to connect them together. I'm not generally a fan of like lobster style clasps, but they're okay. And this is the flogger. This is made of cow leather like the rest of the set is. And this one in particular of all the pieces really has that good leather smell to it. I'm into that. Like, leather's definitely my kink, guys. Like, I love the smell of leather. And the flogger falls are really, really thin too. I don't know if you guys can see that, but like here's like my thumb and here is the flogger fall. And I have long but relatively skinny fingers, so if that gives you guys a sense for how large they are. And this is a stingy toy. It is small, but it is stingy. So if you do not like stingy, this is not the toy for you. Or maybe it's a punishment toy. But just to give you guys an idea of what this is like, here is what I would do if I was doing this on myself, and it is very stingy. It is not the kind of toy I would normally gravitate towards, but if you are, you know, new to the concept of flogging, this could be a good idea. The one thing that I did notice about it is, I don't know if this is going to show up either, but wherever I was using the flogger on this, I would get little like black fuzzy pieces on me, and that is because the inside of this, while the outside is this very like shiny, like, I don't know, top grain I think is the term, cow leather, the inside is the suede side. So that has little fuzzies on it. And whether or not it's a problem for you is something you're going to have to figure out for yourself. But this is just what I would consider like your average everyday beginner flogger, but very, very good for those of you who like stingy and perhaps like to use things in a little bit more sensitive places. Because this is a pretty short flogger, you can also use this, you know, between the thighs maybe, or on the breasts, which a lot of longer full-size floggers you're going to get from a flogger store or from a flogger maker. They're just not going to be short enough to be able to do that. Alright, so the last piece in the set that I was really excited for was the nipple clamps. I thought these were so cool. I have pierced nipples, so generally speaking, I am not somebody who uses nipple clamps that often. And the reason why I was so excited about this is because they have a lobster clasp on here, the same as they do for the cuffs. You can actually connect this to the collars or to one of the cuffs and have some additional restraint using one of these clamps right here. Now obviously they are billed as nipple clamps. That is what they are intended to be used for, but you don't have to use them on just nipples. You can do things like use them on the skin, so you can do like this, and you can pull on it and yank it. Now, this part of the body is not ideal for it, but for the sake of showing it on video, you can also use it on the lips, you can use it on the tongue, the nose, earlobes, basically anywhere where you can get a little pinch of skin, you can use these. So even if you have pierced nipples or you don't like your nipples being played with, one of the really fun things about clamps is that they are actually quite versatile in ways that I don't think people always expect. And with this, I just feel like this piece in particular just feels very luxe. Like, it's rose gold, it has these black accents from like the rubber caps on the clamps. It has a feeling of like I'm doing bondage and I'm also very wealthy and luxurious. I don't know, maybe that's just me and I get that sense from it, but I thought it was really cool and I like these a lot actually. I like to use these on my tongue and on my lips, which might be too much information, but they are quite fun, and I do in particular really like these items, and I think these are really high quality. Alright, so the last thing that I want to show you guys on these nipple clamps is this split ring right here. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is actually because these are on split rings, you can remove these and actually have two completely separate nipple clamps that don't have to be attached by a chain. So if you want to use these on different parts of the body, if you want to be able to use both of them on the same body part more easily without having this like big, long, unwieldy chain, if you're not going to be using that on it, you can do that as well. So it does add a little bit more versatility to the product. And that is everything that is in the first collection. I would say that this one, again, is definitely luxurious feeling. It definitely has that luxe look to it, but I think it does veer a little bit more on the light bondage side, or like bedroom bondage side, which is totally and perfectly fine. But if you're looking for a little bit heavier bondage, or you want to focus on that, I don't necessarily know if this collection is for you, unless you really like rose gold nipple clamps like I do. But the other set, the collection 2, is definitely more geared toward bondage, is definitely more bondage focused. And this one has 5 items. Again, it has the blindfold, it has collars and cuffs, and it comes with a leash and a paddle rather than nipple clamps and a flogger. And I think overall, this one has a little bit more of a heavier feel to it. So the first thing here is the collar, which when I first unboxed this, I thought it was like a thigh cuff because of how big it is and just the design on it with all of these extra D-rings on it and this really, really big thick post in the middle right here. It just has sort of like a bondage belt feel to it, but this is actually the collar. And on me, it looks like this. And it has so much extra strap on it. It's really unwieldy and like to the point where I can't even really put it on myself because I basically have to tighten it all the way and have all of this extra leather like bound up behind my hair and my neck, and it's unfortunately not a really great fit on me, but overall I think the item is very comfortable. It has that same sheepskin padding on the inside, and none of the metal touches the inside of this collar once you have it on, which I know some people are going to really, really value that, and that's going to make them, you know, feel more comfortable in the bondage. Nothing is going to be rubbing up against your skin. But if it didn't have that issue with all of the extra leather and it was maybe a little bit shorter, because for me I have this collar here, so if I'm wearing another collar on top of that, if it's too thick, it pushes this down in my windpipe right here, which is not a pleasant feeling. So just something to keep in mind. But I do think the hardware they've used on this is so interesting, and hopefully it'll focus. But it has this big poster here. I've never seen anything like this. It's super, super thick. And then they have these D-rings on the side. They have the strap keeper over here. And I think, again, if you're looking for something for heavier bondage, this really has that feeling to it. And as long as you're not, you know, neck size 11.5 like I am, you will probably be able to fit into this, and you're not going to have some of the issues that I've had. And these are the cuffs. I think they definitely follow in the same footsteps as the collar does. I find this looks a little bit less heavy duty. It only has the one D-ring right there, but it does have these sort of studs on it. So it definitely has a little bit of a heavier feel than the first set. It has a roller buckle, it has a strap keeper, and pretty much all of these, except for the first collar, have the same design where it's a split leather basically, where there's a base on the bottom and there's an extra strap that's been put on top, and this is actually what you use to close it down. And I find with these styles, they're a little bit more difficult to put on, especially if you're putting them on by yourself. And for me, I found that this is also a little bit too big to wear comfortably. Simply combination of how wide it is combined with like how much leather I have to try and roll up to make this fit on my arms. I think this would work with you. I think, you know, in general, even when I did put it on, even though it was a little bit of a struggle because of how much I had to try and pull through the roller buckle, it was comfortable to wear. I could wear it taking a nap, I could wear it while I was on my laptop, I could wear it while I was just out and about and I was like doing cleaning around the house or something. These are in general really, really comfortable and really nicely padded. And I wish they were just a little bit smaller because I want to be able to wear them, but it's just, I'm gonna have to get somebody to like resize these or something because they are just too big, but they are very, very comfortable and they are really nice quality. The cuffs also come with a chain, just like the other set does. However, they use a little bit of a different style connector on these. So rather than using a lobster style clasp, or maybe I'm getting them mixed up and this is the lobster style, I don't remember. But they're using a different style on this one. And this one definitely feels more heavier duty to me. The chain feels a little bit heavier. These definitely feel a lot heavier. These, I'm very confident, are going to stay secure and are going to keep the cuffs in place. And pretty much all of the hardware in here is that way. I don't see any issues with the quality of the metal, the quality of the fit on the metal. It all seems to be good, and it all seems to be quote-unquote sort of tug resistant. Obviously, I haven't had the opportunity to put these through hundreds of hours of play, but for the time that I have worn them, I have not had any issues, and I don't have any indications that these wouldn't be something that could last you for several years. So the last item I want to show you guys is the paddle. And I think out of the second set, this is definitely my favorite. I really enjoy this paddle. This is definitely something that is also stingy. So if you're not a stingy person, I'm sorry, this paddle's not going to be for you. But it is a really nice quality leather, has a little bit of a heft to it. And it's just, it's very smooth. It is not like one of those cheap, like, faux leather like $20 paddles you get from like Lovers or like Castle Megastore. This is a high quality leather paddle. It has this keeper strap on it so you can hang it up. It has a really nice shine and gloss to it. There you guys can see my ring light. The back is more of a matte finish, but I think overall this is really nice. And just to give you guys an idea of what it sounds like, it definitely makes a pretty hefty sound. It's a little bit more, I would say, dull sounding compared to like a rubber type of paddle, or even like a wooden paddle. It doesn't have that same like sort of snap to it. So it is a little bit more weighty. It does have a little bit more of a thud element to it, but the vast majority of the sensation is staying. And it's something that I think is relatively easy to use. I think this is something you can use on most parts of the body. I think it's something that a beginner would be able to pick up and use relatively safely, so long as they were using, you know, common sense and negotiation and all that good stuff. So I do really, really like this item, and I do really like this paddle. And I have seen paddles for sale like this for the same price as the entire set. So I think overall this is a good value, and if you are somebody who does like heavier bondage gear, maybe the second collection is a little bit more up your alley. So those are all of the items from both of the collections. I hope you guys found this review interesting and helpful. And if you guys do want to see more pictures of these items, if you do want to see them fully tried on, I do have a full photo shoot using these 70 photos that is over on my Patreon for everybody who is at the $5 tier and up. And the reason for that is trying on bondage gear is not necessarily the most safe for YouTube activity, and I don't want to risk my channel by having things that are maybe a little bit too risque or too overtly sexual for YouTube. So all of those photos, like all of my photo shoots, are over on Patreon if you guys want to check those out and see all of these items in action. Overall, I think for the price, these items are definitely worth it. I really, really enjoy the padding. I don't know if I've gotten that across yet. I love the padding on the items. They are very comfortable. It's very thoughtful. And I know I have seen bondage gear for sale from people who make bondage every day for their living that's not this comfortable and is more expensive, even though it's using the same materials. So overall, I do definitely recommend this. If you are somebody who's new to bondage, if you want a unique color that nobody else in the dungeon is going to have, please be sure to check these out. These are super limited edition. There are 30 of each set going for sale in the entire world, and those are on the website. So if you want to check these out, if you want to get a set for yourself or for your partner for Valentine's Day, I do have one one last little note here as well. We do have a coupon code that is going to be available to anybody who wants to purchase that, and I will put the information for it right here. And we are also doing another giveaway. So if you want to be part of the giveaway, if you want to have a chance to win some cool prizes, stick around because there's going to be some information on the screen so you guys can get all of that. If you like seeing reviews like these, please let me know down in the comment section below. It really does help me figure out what videos I should be focusing on. If there's anything else you'd like to see, please let me know. If you haven't already and you like this video, please do subscribe. I make videos twice a week. And if you really like this video and you want to see my exclusive photo shoots and videos of real life BDSM activities, you can do so over on Patreon. That is what keeps this channel going. That is what allows me to do this, and without that I would not be able to. So thank you guys so much for everything you do, and if you already support me, thank you so much for that as well. It means the absolute world to me. And until I see you guys next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Bye bye.